Welcome to the screencast of Docker Compose. This is essentially the same as Homework 3, except for the fact that we are running Redis proxy and Node app in 3 different containers this time. And instead of spawning new servers, we're going to spawn new containers. So let's go ahead and look at my setup. So I have a proxy server running on a container, a Node server running on a separate container, and a Redis container. And the proxy server is connected with the Redis container as well as the Node container, and the Node container is connected with the Redis container, and we can spin up new Node containers however much we want. So Docker Compose gives us a very easy and efficient way of implementing this and allowing these containers to communicate with each other. So for this we need to create a Docker Compose YAML file. This is how it looks like. We have a Redis image that it's gonna pull from Docker Hub. We have a Node 1 container defined as follows. It is linked to the Redis container. We have a proxy container called proxy, which is linked to Node 1 and Redis container. Also, the proxy container the proxy container is listening on port number 8091, which is mapped to port number 9100 on the local host. So any request on 9100 would be directed to 8091 on the proxy container, which in turn would redirect it to the nodes in the setup. So let me go ahead and first check if there are any containers running. So there are no containers running in our setup. So let's go ahead and run the Docker Compose command. So this is gonna create new images. It's gonna download whatever packages are required for the application to run inside the container. So this is gonna take some time, and I'm gonna pause this video for a while until this completes. So the setup is complete. As you can see, the Redis server is listening on port number 6397, the Node container is listening on port number 3000, and the proxy container is listening on port number 8091. So let's go ahead and test if our setup is running. So I'm gonna send a request to the proxy server. So there you go. So as expected, the Node server responded with hello world, and I'm gonna send a request to a different route. I'm gonna do a set, and I get a different response as we saw in Homework 3. Now when I do a get, I'll get the value. So we can see that our setup is running, and all the containers are able to communicate with each other. Now let me go back to my setup. I did not discuss about this link between Node 1 and localhost before. So essentially what localhost is, it is a server that is running on localhost, and Node 1 is gonna it's gonna redirect requests to this server that is running on the local host. This is not a container, this is just an application that is running on localhost. Essentially what it does is its job is to spin new containers. So when I send a request to the proxy server to spawn new containers, it's gonna redirect it to node 1, and node 1 in turn is gonna redirect it to a server running on localhost, and then it's gonna spin up a new server. That's how we get node 2. So let's test this in action. In order for this to run, I have to start the local server first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I've started the server. This is listening on port number 3001 on the local host. So let me send a request to the proxy server. Let me first test if it is working. Yeah, it's still working. So I'm going to send a spawn request to the proxy server, and as you can see here, I get a response on the browser that a new container has spun up. Let's go ahead and see if I can see this new container. So I'm gonna do docker ps and as you can see here right on top, a new container with this name was spun up 26 seconds ago. I can also go ahead and do docker ps and see that this container is running. Let's try and spin another container. So I'm going to do a spawn once again. Once again I get a response, and I do my docker ps. I should see a new container. Yeah, there you go. This was spun up 7 seconds ago. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.